Welcome back. This is First Class GP and I'm KP. Recently, someone suggested that I make some videos about articles I read that are relevant to GP. I thought about it. Yeah, why not? So I'm gonna try this out, sharing some articles with you, and you may one day find it useful for your general paper or for other purposes. And today, we're gonna talk about headscarf, public consultation, and religion. So let's get into it. Now, the first article that I'm going to share with you is this one. Government's secular stand on issue of wearing tudungs with public service uniforms has been consistently clear. This was published maybe 2 weeks ago, 8 March 2021. And so what's the problem? Nurses are not allowed to wear tudung or hijab, which is this headscarf. Okay, the minister in charge of Muslim affairs, Masagos, he said, no, the government is very clear on this. We are not going to allow wearing of tudung in public service. And he said the public service policy on uniforms cannot be tilted towards any particular religious beliefs. Okay. He said this in response to MP Faisal Zulkifli. Mr. Faisal had raised the issue during his budget debate speech on February 24th, saying that the rule barring Muslim women from wearing the headscarf with their uniform has deterred some from taking up nursing. So headscarf has been a contentious issue. I think Singapore is not the only country. Maybe I'll share with you another country that has issues with headscarf as well. And further down the article, it says, allowing tudung, Masagos says, allowing tudungs will raise a very visible religious marker that identifies every tudung wearing female nurse or uniform officer as a Muslim. This has significant implications. We don't want patients to prefer or not prefer to be served by a Muslim nurse, nor do we want people to think that public security is being enforced by a Muslim or non-Muslim officer. So this is clear. The government wants to does not want people to identify themselves by their religion, okay? Because wearing a headscarf is a symbol, and I would say in Singapore only Muslims will wear headscarf. And if you wear a headscarf, people will immediately identify, oh, okay, this person, this nurse is a Muslim. And some patients, I'm not sure how true this is, some patients might say, no, I don't want to be served by a Muslim, or I only want to be served by a Muslim. And that could create problems in the future. That's their stance. And that happened on 8 March. And then there was a lot of back and forth and a lot of public debate online. The rest of the article goes about to talk about what he says, his stance. He said the government's approach is to protect precious harmony built in Singapore over the years. Okay, but let's see what happened recently. Okay, interestingly, just a few days ago, maybe yesterday, this article came out. Muslim leaders told last August that position on nurses wearing tudung under review likely to change. So the government is changing its stance on headscarf wearing. Now it says, Muslim leaders were told some 6 months ago that the government is considering allowing nurses to wear the tudung at work, Home Affairs and Law Minister K. Shanmugam said on Tuesday. Okay, you know this, K. Shanmugam said something. Has been discussions going on even before this debate came out. He says that our view is there is likely to be a change. That means it's very likely that nurses can start wearing headscarf. Muslim nurses can start wearing headscarf in the future. And the rest of the article, it says he said the government was consulting the community before making a change and had discussed the matter with the Islamic Religious Council of Singapore, MUIS, and taken into account its views, which were helpful. So the government, people like K. Shanmugam, they've been going around consulting religious leaders on the appropriate way to go about this. Right? Should they or should they not allow wearing a headscarf in public service, in nursing? There's something very interesting for you to think about. Okay, let me pull up this slides that I have. Now, this relates to our discussions on politicians' job. Should politicians pursue the popular viewpoint or their own convictions if they conflict? Now, we could clearly see in this instance, right? the politicians, even though they say, oh, this was our idea, changing the policy is our idea, but I believe there was some trigger from the public. There were some debates that led them to investigate further, to look into their existing policies and say, maybe we need to change. So in some ways, politicians in Singapore, I think they take into account the public sentiments quite a lot. Yeah. Now I can even show you some websites where we can do this. This is the website www.reach.gov.sg. It is by this organization, rather this should I call it an agency? Reach. Now Reach, this agency is the government's branch to reach out to people to seek their opinion, to seek their solutions even. That's called the public consultation process, where the government talks to different stakeholders and come up with some policies that, or make some changes to policies that might reflect the needs of the people. I think that's a very important part about democracy or any form of governance. That's something you can use for your AQ discussion or whatever about Singapore. Now, let's talk a little bit about some of the questions that you can apply this to. Can a society be truly inclusive? Okay, that depends on how you define inclusive. Well, wearing a headscarf. Okay, how inclusive are we? The next question is, does religion have a place in politics? This is not exactly politics per se, but it relates to our discussion on religion. All right, and okay, let's talk a little bit about the wearing of headscarf. This is not an issue that's solely found in Singapore. Other countries also have this problem of should we allow usually Muslim ladies to wear the headscarf. It could be the hijab, it could be the niqab, okay, whatever it is. And this has some impact on policy making in other countries, okay? For example, Turkey. Okay, let's look at this article on Turkey. Why Turkey lifted its ban on the Islamic headscarf. This was some time ago, 2013. Yeah, quite a number of years back. So this is Turkey today, but Turkey in the past, you wouldn't see this in public. Very often in public service, people were not allowed to wear headscarf, okay, in the past, before 2013. So let's see what the article says. The new rules, which don't apply to workers in the military, come into effect immediately and were put in place to address concerns that the restrictions on hijab were discouraging women from conservative backgrounds from seeking government jobs or higher education. Notice the argument is very similar to the argument made by nurses in Singapore, rather the Muslim community in Singapore. Okay, it will discourage people from going to certain profession if they value their modest dressing, okay, over the career. And yeah, Turkey's restrictions on wearing overtly religious-oriented attire are rooted in the founding of the modern secular Turkish state, when the republic's founding father, Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, introduced a series of clothing regulations designed to help religious symbolism out of the civil service. So, Mustafa Kemal, who is like the Lee Kuan Yew for Turkey, right? He's the founding father, and he replaced the Ottoman Empire, which is like a very old kind of monarchy system, governance system. He's saying, no, we're going to have a proper process, proper government, proper republic, and he went on to carry out a lot of reforms. His goal was to turn Turkey into a secular state and to modernize Turkey. So in doing that, he actually removed a lot of the symbols, a lot of the practices associated with religion. Not exactly removed, but he discouraged it. Yeah. So, okay, the rest of the article, you can go ahead and read it. I'll put a link in the YouTube comments below. And, okay, now just to show you who he is, right? Mustafa Kemal. Okay, that's him. Okay. He is a very important figure in Turkey, modern day Turkey. Okay. He was right here. He say Turkish Field Marshal, revolutionary statesman, author, founding father of the Republic of Turkey. So many people associated Turkey, even Turkish, associated modern day Turkey, their success, with secularism. Secularism, for those of you who don't know, means the practice of separating religion and politics. So politics, the government itself is non-religious. It does not attach itself to any particular faith. And ideologically, a secularist and a nationalist, his policies and theories became known as Kemalism. There's even a name for his policies. With the new government in Turkey, there has been a shift to reinstate religious institution in the government. And so that's it for today's topic on Headscarf, public consultation, and religion. If you like this video, do let us know. We'll continue to make more videos like this to help you stay updated with current affairs. Till then, see you.